Enggak cuy, aku kayak belajar tuh sebetulnya paling suka pagi, cuman tadi pagi kayak nggak, kurang efektif ininya. Jawa ya, kurang Jawa. Lagi di SKP atau Indo? Lagi di Indo. Bakal infoin di channel. Oh iya ya, aku harusnya info di channel ya. Halo, halo. Oke. Jadi em, ini bukunya Literary Rogues. Ini siapa yang request live? Aku lagi ini ya Evan. Fokusnya cuman baca buku cuy. So not now. Maybe some other time. Jadi ya, so kayaknya yang aku tangkap sih eh, gini. Jadi ini bukan novel. Ini kayak kind of like gabungan biografi dari beberapa penulis gitu. And to be fair, kayak there are 8 over here dan aku cuma tahu satu dari mereka semua. This guy namanya Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway itu kayak this American classic literature guy. Dia nulis beberapa buku yang kayak betul-betul I don't know sih, kayak dia menang Nobel Prize in Literature karena nulis beberapa buku. Ada Oscar Wilde ya. Aku gak tahu dia yang mana sih. So this guy itu kayak kalau kalian lihat, like he's dia lagi siap-siap untuk minum something, and I think you can sort of guess. Oh, ada Picasso. Oh, that's interesting. So dia kayak lagi mau minum something kan, and kayaknya kalian bisa guess ini isinya apa. Terus kayak it just goes to show kayak dia lifestyle-nya tuh kayak gimana. But it's very interesting to see that with that lifestyle he was able to sort of make such incredible books gitu. And ada beberapa sih yang aku suka tuh, salah satunya A Farewell to Arms. I love that one. The Sun Also Rises. Aku suka, even if I only read it like a third or half away even. Terus selanjutnya, ini aku baca betulan sampai habis tuh A Movable Feast. Tapi kayak sebelum aku lanjut ini, aku mau cerita dikit dulu tentang A Movable Feast. Ceritain PDK di Tarnus. Wah, kalian mau dengar ceritaku di Tarnus kah? Kayak tapi aku ceritain nanti. Tapi maybe I start with the book A Movable Feast dulu. Kayak jadi di buku Movable Feast itu bukunya literally opening with kayak gini. Dia ceritanya, penulisnya lagi actually Hemingway. Pengarang bukunya itu dia kayak semi autobiographically. Dia tuh nulis kayak dia lagi ngarang lah, lagi bukan baca sih, dia lagi nulis like bukan novel. Dia dulu belum nulis novel kan, cuma nulis aja. And pas lagi nulis dia kayak bosen gitu. Settingannya di cafe by the way. So dia lagi nulis di cafe di Paris tahun 19 berapa. Kalian bayangin lah kayak suasana nulis buku di cafe di Paris tahun segitu tuh kayak romantis banget kan. And dia ya just looking around, mengamati suasananya sambil mikirin dia mau nulis apa gitu. Dan aku ngerasa kayak itu very reflective of what I do gitu loh. Kayak aku kan suka banget misalnya ngerjain soal matematika gitu kan. Like orang ngerjain soal matematika itu cuman dia ada kertas gitu kan, terus nulis gitu, terus ngeliat kanan kiri gitu. Terus kalau dia nggak ngerti ya dia harus jalan-jalan muter, mikir lagi sampai akhirnya dia dapat ide gitu loh. And kalau dipikir-pikir itu kan sebenarnya like a very apa ya, kegiatan yang sangat boring ya kalau kayak gitu. Sebenarnya aneh banget nih lightingnya nih. Wah, ini lucu sih ini. Cuman kena muka aku gitu loh. Terus ya basically buku ini dia tuh bisa give so much more meaning ke, dia bisa memberikan makna yang sangat lebih ke kegiatan yang sebetulnya kelihatan bosenin banget gitu loh. Secara fisik kan kalau kamu nulis atau atau kamu ngerjain soal itu kan cuma duduk di meja ngerjain gitu kan. Tapi ya aslinya sebenarnya so many things yang terjadi di sini gitu loh pas lu ngelakuin itu. Kayak terutama kalau as a writer ya, setahu aku as a writer kayak salah satu cara untuk membagi pikiran adalah kayak mikir, kayak aku lagi mikir apa, habis itu aku lagi ngerasa apa, dan ya why, kayak what is it around me that makes me feel that way, or what is happening in my life that makes me feel that way. Itu kan sering kali itu what writers do gitu loh. So kayak Ines jadi bilang kalau you nulis tuh nggak cuma nulis, you baca tuh nggak cuma baca, you duduk tuh nggak cuma baca gitu loh. You baca nggak cuma baca, you do anything in your life kelihatannya tuh dangkal tapi actually enggak sih. Ya, being about books. Jadi itulah kayak I really like that book. Jadi mulai dari situ aku udah kayak aku tahu aku bakal suka bukunya gitu. Soalnya ya untuk aku yang jurusanku CSM Math, and what do I really do? I just sit in front of my laptop and do some assignment yang dikasih sama kuliah, or aku kayak baca lecture notes, ngerjain video, kayak ngerjain soal-soal dari tutorial yang dikirim gitu, or aku ke library, I go to the library to find a math book, and then aku mulai explore sendiri, ngerjain soal-soal dari situ. Like all of that is just at the end itu kan sebenarnya kayak terlihat dangkal banget sebetulnya, cuman kayak there is no kayak ikut kegiatan, nggak ada namanya kayak ikut kegiatan besar gitu loh, kayak nggak jadi apa ya, it's not itu bukan kayak lomba debat, itu kan nggak kayak persiapan debat atau jadi atlet atau apa gitu loh, kayak ya itu basically what you do in school, apa yang lo lakuin di sekolah tapi dengan jauh lebih passionate aja, tapi nothing really incredible gitu. Cuman if you can give more meaning to it, sebetulnya jadi it becomes much more enjoyable lah. So itu yang aku butuhin sih pas itu. And sebenarnya I notice kayak sebenarnya semua ini jujur menurutku semua ini kayak at the end of the day balik ke kayak being passionate about what you do gitu loh. And aku notice kalau aku suka banget kalau baca buku yang aku ngerasa yang tulis tuh passionate gitu loh tentang apa yang dia tulis, dan actually ceritanya menarik gitu loh. That's what I like. Interesting. Sekolah suka pelajaran apa? Suka matematika, suka fisika, Japanese gak ada. Yo Kendrick, what's up? Tutor itu nge-gym berapa hari sekali? Jujur aku pas liburan nih jarang olahraga sih, kayak dari dulu aku kayak dulu aku pas di Taruna aku udah ngerasain olahraga untuk bikin fisik yang bagus, dan that's I think I've had enough of that gitu loh. Kayak aku udah nggak ngerasa there is any aku nggak ngerasa ada apa lagi untuk dicapai gitu dengan itu. Kayak olahraga terus, pull up, push up, lari, sit up, yang kayak gitu lah, yang standar kayak gitu dikerjain setiap hari. Cuman dapat fisik yang bagus tuh, cuman dapat penampilan fisik yang bagus tuh does not interest me anymore gitu loh. Makanya kalau di NUS aku ikut calisthenics karena ada komunitasnya. Jujur kalau di NUS calisthenics tuh nggak ada komunitasnya, aku nggak bakal datang ke tempat latihannya. I'm be real gitu loh. And ya terus di sana karena aku seneng banget sama komunitasnya, akhirnya aku jadi akrab aja sama semuanya. And karena aku akrab, kayak akhirnya dipilih jadi vice captainnya tim calisthenics. So ya itu sih, ada yang ngasih pertanyaan. Lagu lagi di mana? Di rumah. Wait. Rekomendasi buku. Ini cuy yang lagi aku baca. Tapi udah enough yapping cuy. Aku mau asli Jogja aku punya short memory. Jujur aku juga punya short memory sih. Kayak yang aku notice ya. Kan sebenarnya kemarin aku ngambil actually kemarin aku tuh ngambil like a psychotest gitu kan. And surprisingly aku tingginya tuh di kayak untuk IQ yang buat ngitung cepet, ngapalin yang nggak jelas gitu. Ya actually aku nggak terlalu tinggi di situ. Aku kayak oke, di atas rata-rata, tapi nggak not exceptional gitu loh. And justru aku malah tingginya itu di verbal. And pas di psikotest tuh kayak yang dites secara verbal adalah kayak ketika muncul kata nih, dia bilang kata, dia kayak psikolognya tuh ngomong, what do you think when you hear this word gitu kan. So aku kayak nyambung ke banyak banget kata-katanya itu loh. And sebetulnya ini yang menarik banget kayak I thought actually guys, ini yang very interesting. Kayak aku yang dulu sering banget ikut Olimpiade Matematika, Singlish banget accentnya, I disagree. You know what? I will start speaking in English just to show that I don't have that accent. So the interesting thing is, for someone who actually participated in Math Olympiad, my I don't know what the word for is, but the cognitive aspect that I excel in is actually verbal. And now that I think of it, it makes a lot more sense because back in primary school and back in junior high school, I did join quite a few Math Olympiad competitions, but I was far from the best. I only reached the top. I only really reached the top when I went to during high school, where the problems in the Olympiad required a lot more like connecting things that were going on, understanding more abstract concepts, and like for example in geometry, maybe in geometry it's not about connecting understanding abstract concepts, but instead it's more like it's more like noticing figures and like bringing figures that you sort of remember into the picture. Nah, jadi ini udah nunjukin kalau aku nggak punya Singlish accent ya. Nah, jadi itulah kayak jadi intinya yang aku mau bilang kalau di Olimpiade Matematika itu ternyata yang keunggulanku di Olimpiade Matematika tuh surprisingly adalah kemampuan verbal, tapi bukan verbal kayak aku tahu kata A B C D E F G H I J K gitu, bukan, tapi kayak verbal in the sense aku dengan kata A itu aku kepikiran kata banyak banget, ngerti nggak maksudnya? Itu yang bikin ternyata itu yang bikin kayak I notice juga, itu yang bikin aku unggul dulu di Math Olympiad. Dan kalau muncul soal-soal yang kayak manipulatif ya, maksudnya kayak kalian kalau belajar kalkulus itu kan sebetulnya intinya cuma manipulasi kan, kayak kalian tuh nggak belajar bukan apa ya, tapi menurutku kayak kalian belajar kalkulus itu nggak ada konsep jujur ya, kayak level abstraksi dari kalkulus tuh kayak rendah banget cuy. Kalian kalau belajar matematika kuliah baru tahu kayak sebetulnya konsep itu ada kayak level konsep itu kayak kalkulus tuh kayak kalian masih bisa bayangin gitu loh. Once again sebenarnya yang menurutku ya kayak yang orang nggak sama Bang Brian tuh beda 3 tahun. Salam buat Wiwit Almi Tarnus. Oh, ada yang kenal tuh. Jadi itulah kayak jujur aku I'm not the best at math yang banyak nulis gitu terus manipulasi bentuk. Itulah. Ceritain tentang Tarnus. Jadi di TN itu kalian bangun jam 4:30. Terus siap-siap buat olahraga pagi. Nanti olahraga pagi mulai selesai jam 5:30. Kalian balik ke asrama. Kalau di TN namanya Graha. Kalian balik ke Graha, siap-siap lagi. Jam 6 udah mulai ini marching kan, kalau di Tarnos kalian harus kayak kemana-mana baris berbaris gitu. Jadi habis itu baris berbaris ke kayak ruang makannya, namanya ruang komunikasi bersama RKB. Di situ ada apel, terus makannya oke sih. Terus makan di sana kan, and after that ya kalian makan pagi, selesai dari situ ke lapangan untuk upacara, selesai upacara, mulai belajar, terus ya belajar kayak di sekolah biasa, cuma di kelasnya ya ada beberapa formalitas yang harus dilakuin, kayak sebelum kelas dimulai nanti ada sebelum kelas dimulai doa bersama, duduk siap gerak, doa mulai, doa selesai gitu loh. Terus ya kayaknya love language word of affirmation. Nah terus ya setelah itu sekolah kayak biasa, literally sekolah kayak biasa, and after that habis sekolah apa ya? Ya habis sekolah kalian ini sih ada kayak apel lagi gitu, and after apel kayak under the sun kalian berdiri terus ngikutin aba-aba for like what 15 to 30 minutes. Setelah itu ya ke baris lagi, jalan ke tempat makan siang, terus makan siang, terus ya balik lagi ke Geraha. Terus kayak habis itu biasanya ada apa ekstrakurikuler, antara ada ekstrakurikuler atau tiba-tiba kepala sekolah tuh ngundang kayak narasumber, jadi semua anak harus datang ke acara sharing dari itu, dari kayak tokohnya. Jadi antara dua itu atau kayak istirahat, soalnya jujur capek banget cuy, kayak dari pagi olahraga sampai sore terus apel terus, itu kayak jujur very tiring. So antara tiga itu ya, kayak ada kegiatan enggak ada ekstrakurikuler, ada kayak kegiatan yang dikasih sama sekolah, atau ya tidur. Di TN dulu masuk jalur apa? Aku dulu jalur prestasi sih. Jadi dulu TN itu punya lomba namanya udah buat saluran channel, udah ada. Udah kenal Kevin sebelum IMO, baru kenal pas IMO. Di TN itu ada kayak lomba MSc Math Science dan Inggris untuk anak SMP. Jadi kalau kalian ikut itu terus juara 1, kalian bisa dapat golden ticket buat di TN, and dapat beasiswa full ride di TN. Jadi ya udah aku ikut itu terus ya juara 1. Jadi setelah itu aku masuk ke TN aja, dan lombanya kan masuk di TN. Aku lihat kayak wow, tempatnya gede banget, terus lingkungannya sejuk banget. Dan TN itu kan saking besarnya TN tuh kalian kalau di ruang belajar, kayak kalian lagi ruang belajar atau dimanapun di TN tuh kalian nggak akan denger kalian nggak akan dengar suara kendaraan, soalnya luasnya gede banget. It's like 24 apa 27 hektar gitu TN tuh. Jadi kayak tempatnya, jadi ibaratnya kayak kalau ini kan ini misalnya segini nih, ini nih ruangan ini kayak denahnya TN gitu, terus ini jalan gitu. Nah, kalian tuh di sini nih, ini ruangan sekecil ini tuh udah cukup buat sekolah, buat asrama segala gitu loh. Jadi kayak very small part. And karena saking jauhnya dari kayak the city, dari kota, suasananya bakal beda banget. Kayak kalian nafas di dalam TN, dan nafas pas banget keluar dari boulevard TN. Jadi di TN itu ada boulevard gede banget ya, kayak sebelum masuk tuh ada boulevardnya gitu. Kalau kalian begitu keluar dari boulevardnya, langsung suasananya berubah cuy. So itulah, kenal jam 5 band, kenal lah itu teman-teman dekatku di NUS. Jalur kasihan gak sih? Kasihan apa cuy? Di TN itu 6 hari sekolahnya. Gitar favorit kamu Yamaha? Gitar favoritku adalah Fender Jazzmaster. Oke. Educatednya aku lanjut baca buku ya guys, soalnya harus. Ini jadi so far yang aku baca, ini kayak dia lagi jelasin kayak perannya buku dalam society itu apa, from ages to ages. jangan elim dulu, ya ya udah kalian nonton aja terus sampai aku elim, sampai aku nggak elim, terserah. Jadi bukunya nih so far yang aku baca, dia tuh lagi mau jelasin kayak awalnya buku itu cuma buat orang-orang kayak golongan atas yang apa ya, buat lingkungan religious, apa ya, kayak kayak mayoritas buku yang dibikin itu cuma buat Holy Bible gitu loh. Zaman I don't know what year this is, tapi a long time ago perannya buku itu cuman itu kayak cuman buat only for the Holy Bible, and kayak anything else itu bakal di restrict, kayak orang mau bikin buku dengan topik anything else itu bakal di restrict gitu loh. Cuman unfortunately ya orang tuh punya banyak pikiran dan susah banget untuk mengkontrol apa yang orang tulis. Jadi akhirnya ya at some point there was this I don't know dia siapa, tapi namanya Marquis de Sade. Dia tuh dia kayak salah satu yang merevolutionize kayak apa sih yang kalian boleh tulis di suatu buku gitu. And ini aku lihat latar belakangnya orang ini is kind of crazy. Dia dulu dari kecil suka this is crazy, kayak sebetulnya nggak terlalu cocok buat pembahasan ini, tapi dia pas kecil kayak mukulin orang soalnya mukulin anak lain karena mainannya diambil gitu. Habis itu dia nah ternyata si bocah yang dipukulin itu adalah kayak royal prince, and ini bikin masalah sama keluarganya. So dia akhirnya harus kayak what's the word for it, kayak di exile, dihilangin dulu dari masyarakat, and akhirnya iniin sih, kayak dirawat sama di bring under the wing of omnya namanya Abe gitu. Terus ternyata this omnya ini juga orang nggak betul cuy. Dia tuh punya kayak library, punya perpustakaan yang isinya very very bad stuff lah. Jadinya all of this influence this kid, and tahun 1750 dia mulai sekolah, tapi kayak di sekolahnya juga isinya elek banget. Kayak topik-topik yang diajarin bukan elek, kayak ngajarinya nggak bagus, tapi ya oh my god, sebenarnya aku jujur aku kayak I don't feel like I can talk about this gitu loh on live Instagram. Pokoknya this kid grow up di dalam lingkungan yang betul-betul nunjukin dia kalau apa ya, what's the word for it, kontroversi gitu loh, banyak kontroversinya. And surprisingly dia actually gabung ke militer tahun aku nggak tahu tahun berapa, pokoknya dia gabung di militer selama 8 tahun, and sekarang ya sekarang aku nggak tahu sampai mana. Kenapa milih NUS, kenapa nggak yang lain? Karena yang aku dapat beasiswa di NUS aja. Jujur aku nggak daftar banyak kampus sih. Akrab nggak sama Bima. I guess we're friends. Harga bukunya, aku nggak tahu sih harganya berapa. Soalnya kalau di Big Bad Wolf kan harganya turun semua. Cuma aku beli beberapa buku tadi. Tinggi badan 177 gitu. Penjelasan di NUS apply ke NUS submit essay atau enggak, apply ke NUS yes harus submit. Sama sistem enggak sih, aku nggak pernah ngerasa terpressure dengan sistem pembelajaran di luar negeri. Kayak ujung-ujungnya cuman ada dosen, ada kelas, terus duduk dengerin, ngerjain soal, udah sih, kayak that's all you do really. Just per di IG story. Kak, aku keterima di NUS. Berat badan si Kreto. Kalau terima di NUS menurutku sih jadi ceritanya tuh aku jujur aku pas kelas 11-12 I didn't do that many things ya. Kayak aku ikut kayak ada peleton di TN namanya Pataka, aku ikut itu. Aku dulu ikut tim jurnalistik di sekolah juga, kayak nulis majalah gitu, cuman aku nggak terlalu aktif. Dulu aku juga tim, ya obviously aku tim matematika di sekolah, terus kayak jadi koordinator gitu, jadi aku bawa kuncinya. Udah sih itu aja kayaknya deh. Kayak di sekolah aku itu. And pas kelas 10 sih karena aku kelas 10 ini kan dapat medali IMO ya. And I think itu sebetulnya yang paling ngaruh buat masuk ke NUS. Soalnya Sean nonton loh. Emang iya Sean? Paling dekat sama siapa di COC? Aku banyak sih temanku di COC. Kayak ada Austin, ada Sean, ada Roger, ada Ben, ada Fedino. It's like I can like kayak jujur aku ngerasa di COC gampang banget bergaul sama orang-orang. Kayak soalnya kayak lingkungannya like there's so many good people in lingkungan COC. Halo Roberto, hari ini udah baca berapa buku? Harusnya ini aku lagi baca cuy, tapi kayak aku malah ke side track terus kayak balesin kalian. Semangatin belajar biologi, ya semangat ya belajar biologi. Kayak menurutku apa ya, kalau the thing is belajar biologi itu kayaknya orang suka bilang kalau belajar biologi itu konseptual gitu nggak sih? Konseptual cuman kayak di stikerin banyak kata tuh loh. Itu yang aku jujur tidak terlalu fans dengan biologi. Kayak I mean it's interesting soalnya kayak biologi kan sebetulnya apa ya? As far as I know, kalau aku ngobrol sama orang-orang yang actually learn a lot of biology, mereka bilang itu actually banyak kemiripan sama matematika. Kayak banyak aliran logikanya, kayak jika A maka B maka C maka D maka E maka F gitu loh. Kayak sebenarnya banyak kayak gitu yang di biologi. Cuman di setiap langkah itu kayak dimasker sama banyak kata. Dan itu yang bikin aku nggak suka jujur. Biology is better than physics. Honestly, aku nggak terlalu I don't really care about what's better than what. Semangat ya guys. Tuh doain keterima di TN. Kalian kalau mau minta doa jangan ke aku cuy. Minta doa sama orang tua. Oh Ray Charles jelas dong. Aku suka banget Ray Charles. Georgia on my mind. Apalagi Ray Charles nih. Tapi Georgia on my mind tuh bagus. First semester, what did I do in supaya nggak burn out? Menurutku sebenarnya paling ngaruh ya buat nggak burn out itu kayak kalian harus tahu apa sih kebutuhan kalian. Jujur kalau aku orangnya extrovert banget, so kalau aku sendiri ya this is also very interesting. Kayak aku ikut olimpiadanya matematika, terus aku sekarang kuliah jurusannya CSN Math. Kayak kalian mikir kalau jurusan kayak gini nih bakal gimana mau ketemu orang di jurusan ini gitu. Like how do you meet people? Ya dengan kalau belajarnya kayak gini terus. And dari SMA juga gitu, kayak kalau aku belajar matematika sendiri di rumah buat nyiapin OSN, buat nyiapin IMO, jujur aku bakal stres gitu loh. Kayak the only times yang aku bisa betah ngelakuin itu tuh kalau ditemenin sama guruku. Kalau ditemenin sama guruku belajar, aku jadi bisa gitu loh. And ya kirain aku introvert, nggak cuy. Kalau if you actually meet me in real life, you will know how extroverted I am. Anime, dulu aku nonton Evangelion, I guess. Aku ngabisin itu semua. Tan Malaka, tadi ada buku Tan Malaka di Big Battle, tapi aku nggak baca. Ya itulah. Ya, so itu yang menurutku penting banget sih. And menurutku sih itu posisi yang sangat susah ya. Soalnya kalau aku melihat teman-temanku semua yang ikut olimpiade, terus yang di kuliah sekarang mereka tuh ketahanan untuk sendiri, stay alone with their own thoughts, nggak ketemu sama orang. Karena aku kayak sangat what's the word for it? Crave for real and meaningful social interaction gitu loh. Which sebenarnya kayak balance-nya susah banget dapetinnya gitu loh. And aku lihat kayak a lot of my friends itu sangat tahan dengan itu gitu loh. Sangat tahan tanpa itu gitu loh. So ya ini very interesting to think about. Motivasi buat masuk SMP, motivasi ya udah belajar aja, have fun. Tadi beli buku di Big Bad Wolf, Yogyakarta, JEC. Semangatin buat belajar. Ya dulu aku ikut Pataka. Girlfriend no nggak punya. Di Tarnus belajarnya gimana? Di Tarnus belajarnya jujur aku hampir nggak pernah belajar di dalam asrama sih kalau di Tarnus. Kayak kalau di Tarnus aku selalu kayak ke apa ya, ruang kayak ada ruangan tim matematika gitu namanya Tomat, terus aku selalu belajarnya di situ. Either di situ atau di kayak lab komputer sih belajarnya. Sama Andreas ya kayaknya lebih ekstrovert dia sih. Paling cantik di COC, semua cewek cantik. Aku udah di bahasa Inggris. How would I describe my music taste? Music taste tuh kayak apa ya? Sometimes aku suka kayak menurutku musik tasteku tuh sangat kontekstual gitu loh. Jadi hampir semua lagu tuh aku punya alasan. Kalau aku suka, if I like a song, aku pasti punya alasan yang bikin aku suka lagunya gitu loh. Kayak even if secara kontekstual lagunya itu nggak ada arti di baliknya gitu. Kayak musik, misalnya musik, karena aku suka ini kan kayak jazz gitar yang betul-betul cuman solo gitar. Ya, orang main jazz di gitar gitu, and I actually do that. Aku kadang suka kayak gitu. Itu secara kontekstual tuh there is no meaning behind it gitu loh. Mostly it's usually like that. Tapi kita sendiri bisa ngasih meaning ke lagunya. Aku milikmu dewa. Bisa medok gak sih? Yo iso larek. Enggak pernah main biola. Gak ketularan Sandy, enggak suka K-pop. Chet Baker or Nat King Cole. Mereka beda banget. Chet Baker and Nat King Cole, they're two stylistically very different artists. Aku lebih suka I used to listen to a lot more Chet Baker, tapi sekarang kayaknya aku lebih sering dengerin Nat King Cole. Kan di albumku terbaru, maksudnya di playlistku terbaru ada lagunya Nat King Cole. Judulnya When I Fall in Love. Sama Max. Oh, aku pernah sih. Aku kayak yang kalian dalam bahasa kalian deep talk kan, ya jelas pernah dong. Maksudnya kayak ngobrol. Sebenarnya kalau bahasa aku sih bercerita ya. Cuman kayak maybe your words for it would be deep talk. Main gitar. Aku sebenarnya dari SMP sih main gitar. Hati rahasia hati. TN32 ya, aku TN32. Yes. So sorry, aku harus start reading this again. The boy was only following his old man. Sadie wrote in letter, I am taking up the family spirit. And if I have anything to reproach myself for, it is to have had the misfortune of being born into it. I should think myself almost virtuous if by the grace of God I were to take up only a portion of the family's evils. So, tantangannya Roche keren banget. Ya cuy, jujur Roche incredible sih. Dia kayak during COC kayak she was doing a lot of other things and somehow she managed to do really well. Kalau nggak salah dia juga ini deh. Aku lihat di IG-nya pasti dia baru kayak nge-publish some research paper, which is insane. Kayak anak tahun pertama nge-publish research paper, that's ya kayak panutan banget sih. Lani out of my league. Arti dari nama channel WA Cold Heart itu dari SD sih aku nama itu. Top free lagu favorit. Top free ganti-ganti sih top free. Okay. Yeah, so to add to what has been said before, basically this guy Marquis, I don't know how you say his name, Marquis, basically he grew up in a household, not in a household, but in a family that was, I think the word is debauched. Like, there was just a horrible household, like, of, like, the people in his family were kinda did some like things which are considered evil at the time, and he does not apa ya he does not have any regret for it. If he has any regret, then the regret is that he is born into this family. So yeah, and it would only be weird. It would actually be weird if he did not like absorb his family's evil. Yeah, and it only used a portion of it. Dari SD kah? Song of the day. Song of the day. Thank You for Loving Me by siapa namanya? Family Friend by Bon Jovi. Nah itu aku juga ada alasannya cuy. Alasan kenapa aku suka lagu itu. Tapi I will tell you some other day. Di TN bisa bimbel di luar bisa. Ya cuy, aku harus baca bukunya cuy. Sorry ya. Sometimes we must sin in order to find out our way back to virtue. The age of fashion is terrible to get through. I'm very pleased that he does not suffer. Said his father had been searching for a wife for the Marquis. The appropriate candidate would come from a wealthy family. He wanted to come. The young Marquis, however, had plans of his own. This is crazy. Mademoiselle Lara. Courtesan. Courtesan itu apa ya? Guys, kalian ada yang tahu artinya courtesan nggak ya? Ya, aku orangnya sangat mudah terdistract, guys. Itu true. The Count ordered his son to forget about Laris and return to the family as soon as he had a clean bill of health. The son of his escapades might still put an end to. I won't be sure of anything until I see them at the altar. May 1. Where was the groom? This is crazy. So he was sick. Rumors flew, however, and Montreal's family learned the truth about the groom's absence. Madame la Présidente, the powerful matriarch of the Montreal family, took the news in stride. Things would change after the wedding, she reasoned. As long as Sade showed up for the actual ceremony on May 15, she wouldn't worry. So this is very interesting. Sade has been like falling in and out of love with many women in his life, and finally he decided he would settle with someone. But his family told him to forget about her, and paired him with the woman of their liking. And during an important moment, which would like sort of signify the upcoming marriage, he did not even come to the event. And yeah, as you would expect, the other side of the marriage was heartbroken, but the future bride was okay with it, and as long as this Sade, as long as Marquis attended the actual ceremony, then she wouldn't worry about it. She wouldn't be okay. She would be okay. Sade finally accepted his fate. He had been spending money quite flagrantly, and the wedding was his best opportunity to keep living the life he was accustomed to. He literally could not afford to go against his father's wishes. Sade arrived in Avignon just in time to sign the marriage contract and stand on the altar for the religious ceremony. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. So he actually attended the wedding ceremony because he had no other choice. He was the debauched guy who liked to go, like, what was the word for it? Yeah. Yeah, so he liked to go to theaters and brothels and burn his money over there. So in order for him to continue that sort of life, he had to get married. Get married and get the money. Madame la Présidente was sufficiently impressed with Sade's conduct in person and wrote to the Abbe, "Your nephew could not be more charming or desirable as a son-in-law, with that genial intelligence of his and that tone of good education that your care seems to have instilled in him." The Abbe, no doubt, smirked at the implication he had instilled any sense of discipline in his nephew. Well, this one is also interesting. Sebenarnya what I like about this is that, yeah, I know some of you left gara-gara aku udah mulai nggak ngobrol kan. But this is very interesting to see that when they were talking things that people used to praise back in the day was education, education and intelligence. This is something that was very desired upon from the higher class of society. And yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense, and to this day I feel like that is also true. Yeah, education itu sesuatu yang, I don't know, education is that marks such a huge, it's how do I say this, I don't know, education is a very expensive thing to put on your name. It's a very valuable thing to put on your name. Lagi baca apa? Oi, Austin, what's up? Austin, aku lagi baca this book called Literary Rogue. The Montreal family agreed to provide the newlyweds with accommodations and a handsome yearly stipend, and Sade grudgingly settled into Montreal party's home following for the man who called the wedlock the most appealing, the most loathsome for all the bonds humankind has devised for its own discomfort and degradation. It was a fate worse than death. Yeah, this is yeah, I agree. Wedlock marriage or arranged marriage is just, I don't know, it's so, I just really don't like the idea of it. Thanks, Austin. The newlywed Marquis bought as much freedom as he could afford, renting several residences in Paris for this whole process of things. Okay, carefully compartmentalized lives nearly collided when he was arrested by authorities for mistreating a prostitute. Sade had forced the woman to drink his. Oh, this is and threatened to shoot her with 2 pistols. Nonetheless, that's crazy. Oh my god. It was oh, this is crazy. This is too foul for me to even read to you guys. In prison for 15 days while investigators contemplated what to do with him. Oh my. Okay, based on interviews with other of those, authorities determined that the incident was not an isolated one. They recommended severe punishment for miscreant. The Comte de Sade petitioned the king for a pardon, which was granted, much to the chagrin of local authorities, obviously. La Presidente learned of the ordeal, but kept her daughter in the dark as Renée Pelletier was already 3 months pregnant with Sade's child. Fortunately for the Marquis, life soon returned to normal. Although his wife's pregnancy ended in miscarriage, she gave birth to two sons and one daughter between 1767 and 1771. Sade continued to visit those people to satisfy his darker desires, but undoubtedly inflicted some measure of abuse upon his wife. At some point, Rani Pelagi learned of her husband's indiscretion, but said nothing. His father passed away in 1767. Okay, he was safe from watching his son desecrate his family name any further. He died not a moment too soon because the Marquis de Sade was once again arrested on charges of mistreating. Following it. This is wow. Menurut aku suka kayak tics. Zad from Paris, had it not been for his mother-in-law's behind-the-scenes intervention on his behalf, he might very well have been executed. Wow. A prominent bookseller of the day wrote it was one more example that in our country, even the most abominable crimes meet with impunity so long as those who commit them are fortunate enough to be noble, wealthy, or well-connected. I mean, in the modern day, it is pretty much the same thing. I mean, we have Andrew Cuomo, who is still running for mayor of New York. Yeah. The Marquis moved his base of operations to the Sade family castle in the French countryside. The allegations of abuse alongside these articles going fair with his house and prosperity much for his wife was rather. Okay, I think I get like how bad this guy is. I don't know what more. Like, oh my god. There's just so much. Sentence were reduced to a warning and a fine. Life could return to normal. I guess the women just ate too many of the candies and got sick. The woman, like, this is enough of the crazy stuff that he's doing. I'm not gonna read anymore. Okay. Alas, his freedom was short-lived. So the Marquis, he was about to get sentenced to death, but somehow it was reduced into a warning and a fine, and his life returned to normal for a while. And then a police inspector woke him in his prison cell on the day he was to be released and informed him the Parisian authorities didn't have the jurisdiction to dismiss the old charges, which had been reconfirmed by a royal order from the king. Yeah. A move orchestrated by none other than La Presidente. She knew that the only way to keep her son-in-law was to keep him locked up in perpetuity. So right now, Marquis is going to get locked up forever. Yeah. ASEAN scholarship. Yeah. Aku dulu ini beasiswa ASEAN scholarship. With the years stretching out infinitely before him, Sade picked up a pen. If he could not act out his fantasies any longer, he would. Okay. So this is very interesting. Aku iso bahasa Jawa, bahasa Indonesia, karo Inggris. Biyen ki aku sinau Arab sithik pas SD, soalnya aku sekolah ning SD Muhammadiyah Sapen, tapi saiki wis ora lanjuti. Yeah. A prison doctor. So this is, I mean, pretty normal. He goes into prison. He's what's the word for it? He is confined of all his desires, and he begins to write upon it. A prison doctor recommended that he avoid reading and writing to lessen the strain on his eyes, which were in very poor shape. Okay, he suggested Sade to Marquis to take up knitting instead. Okay, knitting. Based on the voluminous output of novels, short stories, and you can certainly assume he had little time for knitting. Many novels during his imprisonment, so he wrote a lot in prison. Okay, Justine, or Good Conduct Well Chastised. There were 120 days of philosophy in the bedroom. Wow, these titles are quite wow. I think if this is the sort of thing. Tips pintar Inggris untuk memulai dunia perkuliahan. Read a lot of books. That's gonna be my way. And secondly, talk with a lot of people. You gotta find people who can talk with. Kalian harus ketemu orang yang kalian bisa ajak ngobrol yang sepantaran lah. Terus ya udah berbagi ide and berarti bicara dari situ. It's all about speaking. Is all about expressing yourself. It was only when he was stripped of his nobility and freedom that he became the man of letters we know him as today. When he took prison a man, came out a writer. French philosopher Simone de Beauvoir wrote, René Pélagie, whom we call the fresh pork of my thoughts, support her husband while raising their children alone. That's crazy. So, his wife supported him even while he was in prison. And she raised their children alone. This is, wow. She took him at his word when he told her, imperious, angry, furious, extreme in all things, with a disturbance in the moral imagination unlike the world has ever known. There you have me in a nutshell. And one more thing. Kill me or take me as I am, because I will not change. She went so far as to sell her own silver shoe buckles to keep the Marquis well dressed and in supply for the gigantic wooden to satisfy him in prison. Wow, that's crazy. Improbably a political sea change in France led to the release of prisoners held under royal decrees. On Good Friday 1790, after 12 years behind bars, Sade was set free. Finally, he is set free. Following his release, he attempted to bury his aristocratic playboy image by rebranding himself as a playwright. Okay. Jadi dia pengen rebrand. Oh ya, bentar lagi maghrib ya. Ya, kayaknya maghrib nanti deh. He had little success staging his own plays. He had more luck with his novels. France was in the midst of La Foutramanie. Wow, a time when erotic works were in great demand, and many of his books went through multiple editions. His books, published anonymously, were violent, subversive, and most unusual as 100. This could be expected based on his. Wait, this is 18th century and you already have these words already? I still can't believe it. Wow, I'm learning so much from this book. And no subject was off limits inside his work. Sexual violence, suffering. Wow, I'm not gonna read the rest of this. I know what it is. I'm not gonna read it. 120 of Sada. Yeah, the most impure tale that has ever been written since the. This is nuts. Fantasies were just that, fantasies. I have imagined everything conceivable, but I certainly have not done all that I have imagined, and I certainly never shall, he wrote to his wife. He reserved his most. Actually, next time aku gak bakal baca buku ini sih. This is actually just for my personal. I will read this in my free time. I will not read this. Next time I will not read this. Ready to see how far one can go in derangement of the human. Okay. But throw it into the fire immediately thereafter. This is advice you will give yourself if you have the strength to read it in its entirety. Bonaparte. Officials ordered the arrest of the author of the novel, Juliet. Oh, okay. Who was at his publisher's office making corrections to the manuscript when the police arrived, was easily identified as the author. The publisher was let go after 24 hours when he turned over the location of the warehouse where the books were stored. Authorities destroyed every copy of the book they could get their hands on. The imprisoned Marquis pleaded for a swift trial. Either I am or I am not the author of the book that is imputed to me. If I am convicted, I wish to endure my punishment, but if not, I want to be free. No trial would be forthcoming. Cleared ill with that and transferred to asylum. Okay, so he was brought to. Wow. After he was safely set up at Charenton, his wife legally separated from him. She had at long last finally reached her breaking point. I'm impressed. Sounds unconventional. Oi, Fanes, what's up? Yo, Arif, what's up, Arif? Yeah, sure. I think I will do some live musical performance someday. I mean, Happy Colmere allows the study of use stage plays at Charenton using inmates as actors. The what? From time passion blueprint, Colmere to rehabilitation play was controversial to say the least, and French police eventually put into place. And if you had once thought marriage was a fate worse than death, Sadia was about to face a nightmare many times where to be stripped of his clothes and paper and placed in the solitary. Died in prison of natural causes. Okay, natural causes. Make vlog. Yo. His family burned all his unpublished manuscripts. If they wished to prevent the Marquis decided from further tarnishing the family name, they were unsuccessful. The word sadism, meaning oh, and later began. Do not be sorry to see your name live on in immortality. My works are bringing it about, and your virtues, though preferable to my works, will never do that. Interesting. Wah, ini gila sih yang selanjutnya. Like, how many stories does this guy have? Kayak, wow. Kayaknya gue gak bakal bosan sih dengerin cerita ini. Kayak, wow. Yeah. I don't think I will ever be bored. Okay. I think it's enough for the reading. Yeah. Okay guys, kayaknya udah mau maghrib, so thank you for joining.